Alright folks, it's like a day until game 2 of the NFL season, but I thought I'd make this video for you anyways. At least you have a day to enjoy my picks and analysis of week 1 and week 2. Anyways, week 1 had a lot of surprises to me. One being how well the rookies performed, especially not having much experience or time in the off season to do anything. I thought that was pretty dang cool. Um, there's a lot of scores, a lot of surprises, a lot of shockers. I thought that was much to be expected for a shortened off-season Week 1 matchup. I expected defenses to pick up a lot more, be closer scoring games or less blowouts at least. I thought the Pittsburgh game was a shocker, to be honest. Ben Roethlisberger had 3 interceptions, and total they had 7. That doesn't happen, and their defense looked like crap. But I think they should rebound this week and maybe show that that was a fluke. Anyways, Week 2 has some pretty good matchups, 3 in particular that I'll talk about a little bit, but I'll get through the games and my predictions and the scores for them. Oakland at Buffalo. Buffalo was another surprise from Week 1, completely dominating the Chiefs in all forms of the game. Buffalo, I believe, will have the edge on here, even though Oakland has a great running game and a great defensive front. I mean, they're scary good. But they're Oakland, so you never know. Buffalo is riding momentum, and Oakland has to travel all the way to Buffalo, so keep that in mind. Next game is Green Bay at Carolina. Steve Smith is catching balls pretty well. Cam Newton was a rookie starting first game, threw for 400 yards, snapped old Peyton Manning's rookie game 1 record. So I don't see him doing that again against a very talented Green Bay defense. They kept up with Breeze and the Saints. I don't see Carolina doing the same. I have the score 35-17 for Green Bay. Next game, the Chiefs and the Lions. I see the Lions continuing dominance and the Chiefs not being able to get their ground game going and continuing to dink and dunk and not getting Bo the deep ball. I think their offense is not going to be anything like 2010. So I'm sorry, Chief fans. I have that game being 10-38 going to the Lions. Cleveland and Indy. Peyton Hillis will play. Peyton Manning will not. So I think that will be a decider, as the Cleveland will run the ball and get some plays going, of course, in the passing. But I don't see Indy winning this. I see it being 17-10. The next game I have is Tampa Bay at Minnesota. 2 teams coming off of tough losses. I do see Tampa Bay having a little bit more offensive going for them. Minnesota will try with Peterson, but I don't see him, breaking more than 100, 120. As long as you don't give him like 2 touchdowns, you should win the game, as the Chargers showed last week. I have that being 21-17. The next game being the Chicago-New Orleans. This is one of my premier matchups. Chicago completely shocked me by beating Atlanta. Atlanta wasn't who I thought they were. I guess they weren't who they thought they were that game either. But Chicago is not going to be who we saw last week. So New Orleans will get a high-powered offense going, and it will be at New Orleans. They'll be quick. They'll be doing their thing. You'll see Sproles. So I have that being 42 to 28 in favor of the Saints, of course. Next game, the old Jaguars and Jets. Jets will get their running and their play action going. Jacksonville will, much like Dallas did, give them the ball and turnovers and whatnot. And I expect the Jets to cruise for a 28-13 victory on that. Next game will be Seattle at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh got demolished, like I said, and are looking to rebound, and they are flat upset. I see Roethlisberger lighting it up, getting 300 yards at least, getting 3 touchdowns, and getting the ground game going, and getting a much-needed victory, 24-9. The defense will hopefully be better. They have nowhere else to go. That game they played against the Ravens was a complete shocker to me. Anyways, speaking of the Ravens, they're up against Tennessee, and I expect that offense to keep going as they have, offense on wide receivers now. They got the Buffalo Bills wide receiver in the off season, and Lee Evans should be pretty good for them. They didn't really use him too much, but they'll get more melded together, and I think they'll have more downfield threats. But the running game is where it's at for them as well. Ray Rice should be in the hundreds by the third quarter in that game. I have it 31-13. Arizona and Washington, 2 teams that surprised and won their games. Well, not really Arizona. They should have won, but I was really impressed with old Kevin Cobb throwing the passes like he was. I think he'll be familiar with the NFC West, so he'll be able to prepare and get his team the victory over Washington. I have that 20-10. Dallas versus San Francisco. As long as Dallas doesn't give the football over Romo and doesn't kick to Ted Ginn Jr., who returned a touchdown for field goal, kickoff, kick, and a punt. So, with that in mind, I don't see San Francisco's offense really doing much. I see Dallas getting it done with Witten and Bryant if he plays. If not, then Austin, of course. 28-16 in that. Next game, this one's not a good matchup. But hey, Cincinnati won, and Denver at home again. They should hopefully maybe get Orton to throw some more passes like he did last year and in the fourth quarter, and maybe a run game like they had a few years ago would be nice. But Cincinnati has a very good defense. They could win this, but I have it being Denver 19, Cincinnati 13. Next game, Houston at Miami. Miami lit up the Patriots pretty well. I don't think that was a fluke. I think New England's defense is not that well in the secondary. Their defensive front is good, but they weren't getting enough pressure, or Henny had good movement, which, Rivers doesn't like that, but I think he does in a way with the pocket movement. But if they hold off, look at me, I'm not even talking about the same teams. Anyways, Miami, they will not duplicate their offensive effort. I think Houston's 3-4 defense is going to stop that, and I don't see Miami continuing to improve on their defense. I see them struggling yet again against Andre Johnson, and I think they'll get Arian Foster at running back, along with a nice Ben Tate complement, should give them a 28-14 victory. Now, on to the premier matchup that I particularly like would be the Chargers and the Patriots. Well, Patriots have had the edge on the Chargers previous meetings. Brady having a 4-0 record against Rivers. But it's a new year. I see their defense being very good at pressuring and overall coverage like they were last year, limiting Brady to his lowest overall total. I see them causing a lot of pressure, which could cause turnovers. But at the same time, Ocho Cinco could go off and they could have a very well-rounded game with Wes Welker and their twin tight ends that are very well. Um, Chargers do have very good defense that could match up with that. Better than, I believe, uh, the Patriots defense matching up against the Chargers, especially if they get a healthy Patrick Creighton back. He will cause problems with his yards after catch for them. Kind of a Sproles type player that will have. I see Matthews improving in this game tremendously. He's having extreme confidence. His running abilities are impressive. I recently played the Madden game. He's really good in that actually, and was just overall shocked at how good their run game is. So the Chargers need to get on track with that. If they do that, they'll set up their deep passes, which I believe they will have in this game with Vincent Jackson having way better game than Week 1 because the Vikings pressured right up the middle on Rivers, and they were blocking well and holding Vincent Jackson at bay with no deep passes whatsoever. The one that was close was a drop. Could have been, but it was just overthrown because Rivers was being pressured. So if you cause pressure to either quarterback, you're going to have success. So that's really what the matchup is going to be about. They're both going to have subpar running but excellent passing. Just depends on which defense comes with more intensity. Alright, 35-30 for the Chargers, I predict. Next game is the second best matchup, being Philadelphia at Atlanta. I did at first, actually I had another video that I had that I scrapped. I had Philly win in that, but I've had a change of thought, and his name is Tony Gonzalez, and I believe he will be a premier threat against their not so good linebackers for the Eagles. Um, Add that to Roddy White, and I think at home Matty Ice is impressive, and I think the whole coming there for Vic will be a little too dramatic for him, and he will not be as good. 30-21, surprise, surprise for the Falcons, who I think are going to slip this year, but they're going to slip for a win this week. Last matchup, the old St. Louis Rams at the Giants. I think the Giants will continue where the Eagles left off with a extreme run game. They will have some play action, and I think Manning will perform better in this game. I think St. Louis has a little bit more to go. They had some very critical injuries, and that will prove to be bad to their season, as I had them going pretty far, but it seems Arizona took that place, in my opinion. Anyways, those are my predictions. I would have more better analysis for week 1, but like I said, it was high scoring. There were some surprises with some of those teams, but overall I think the offense will be somewhat based upon the good teams going up and scoring a lot. But overall, I think the passing yards will dwindle down as the defense gets more melded together and more, more of a unit. Of course, they did cause a lot of pressure on the flip side as they were trying to pass deeper. So, you might see some more quarterbacks going down in the next few seasons or weeks coming up. Anyways, I'm just rambling on. I will have a better, more in-depth video for next week. Like I said, I just threw this together, but I hope you enjoy it.